Good morning. I've been asked to share with you some of the plants I see here in northern Thailand. This is by popular request. One of my neighbors growing a banana tree, herb, whatever. This is probably trying to decide on the variety of banana it has here. It's probably a guianensis, which is a really popular and common one in Chiang Mai. It's not my favorite. It's kind of a short banana with sort of fibrous texture to it, and it's not very tasty. The better bananas are grown further south of here. Let's see how they've got a rope keeping the banana from falling over. There's some other flowers here that I can't identify. We're in a muban, or a neighborhood, just to the south of Chiang Mai. And when I took my wife to see this property at the end of the road here, she fell in love with this tree here. And, you know, the property too, of course. Of course, we've done some improvements on the house since, but the tree is looking good. Now this is a Terminalia ivorensis. The Thai name for it is Couroupita. Now I'll come in closer and I'll show you why they call it that. Yeah, it was growing some catkins and they all fell down with the rain. That's just the habit of this plant. Look at the, well, there's still some catkins on the leaves. If you look carefully at the shape of the leaves, this is why they call it Couroupita, which is the shape of the leaf is like the ear of a mouse deer, which lives in Thailand. There's a couple of species in the genus Tragulus. They're also called Chevrotain. I've never seen one. They're mostly in southern Thailand. But that's the shape of the leaf suggests the ear of that animal, I guess. Now this original tree is native to Africa, but it seems to be pretty popular here. And over here, I'm sort of mystified here because this was advertised to me as being a Magnolia champaca, which means the Magnolia champaca, the flowers are used to make nagchampa, which is a famous incense. And I haven't seen any decent flowers here that would confirm that. I mean, I've been here more than a year and haven't seen any flowers off of it yet. So I'm not sure if we've got the real deal or not. The flowers, when they do bloom, are incredibly fragrant. Some of the best I've ever seen. Yeah, of course, speaking of fragrant flowers, you can't ignore the Plumeria alba, I think this one is. Unfortunately, we're not seeing flowers this time of year, but that's how it is. You know, I've tried all the leaf identifier apps on my phone, and they seem to be mostly loaded with plants from the temperate zones. So I'll shoot something strange over here, and it says, "Oh, it looks like you have a, common beach or something like this," and it's there's way too much biodiversity among the plants here to be able to identify a lot of them. What I normally do is I ask a local Thai what they call it, but I can look that up and find the scientific name. One interesting feature here is that we see indoor plants, or plants that we know as indoor plants, in America, and they're grown outside almost casually, sometimes almost like weeds. Here we are in the middle of March, and in northern Thailand, this is the end of the dry cold season and the beginning of the dry hot season. But we just had a rain and knocked down some of the flowers here. Yeah, this is a very nice flowering plant, and it would be a couple of the flowers are still surviving, but yeah, this is called Murraya paniculata, or glass flower, and it's one of my wife's favorites. But as you can see, most of its flowers are on the ground where they don't belong, in my opinion. Anyway, the neighbor has some other plants growing here too. She's got a fascination right now for variegata plants. This is the kind of plants that have bands of color in the leaves, like this. And it's a little gardening fad. Kind of interesting. These are heliconia, and I'm not really sure if this is the right way to treat them. They're not really showing a lot of vigor right now. I think they might need bigger pots or more fertilizer or something like that. Some of these plants I think are Dracaena, and there's some bamboo relatives here. Of course, we've got Christmas plant, poinsettia. They do quite well here, and I think this one needs to be a little watered a little bit, maybe repotted. Adding a little bit of Christmas color. This is it's called a sasa. It's a relative of the bamboo. I planted it here because my cat likes to come here and chew on the leaves. Here's all the other heliconias that I planted here. And you can see their flowers have gone away. This is really not the best time to show flowers. Not in this area. Yeah, this is lemongrass, and it's going to seed. It's kind of interesting. They look kind of flowery. They've been getting kind of a little dried out lately, but they maybe start propagating. They might have these long, tough, fragrant leaves growing everywhere. That's the one we... Now there's actually two varieties. Yeah, here we go. This is the one used for cooking. The other one here is used to repel mosquitoes. In fact, when you get organic mosquito repellent, it usually has some lemongrass in it. The cat loves it, and mosquitoes hate it. But this smaller variety is used for cooking, and it's a little sweeter smelling. And yeah, my wife would just wad that up and throw it in the pot. It's makes some really delicious stuff. Yeah, that one's not going to seed. It's just the bigger plant. That's interesting. There's another one of our variegatas. It's kind of fun. Again, this is a plant that's usually grown indoors in America, but it's one of our garden plants. Up here in the backyard, these are technically mango trees, mamuang, but they're not bearing much in the way of fruit. Let's see if we can find something. Yeah, look at that. Look at some flowers there. There's a couple of mango trees in the neighborhood that are also producing fruit. The rain, the unseasonal rain we're getting right now might be disturbing the development. Let's see what happens. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Okay, this is the first time we've really seen promise of a bounty. My wife's not in favor of really having a lot of fruit in the backyard because, you know, it's going to fall and it's going to rot and there's going to be flies and crap like that. Now here's a little papaya plant that I planted a while back. It's kind of struggling, and I think that the grass may be crowding it out. I need to pull back the grass and put some fertilizer on it. Of course, the neighbors have some interesting plants too. Let's take a stroll in the neighborhood and see what we find. Now this looks like some sort of citrus plant. Apply my nose to these flowers here. There's a fruit back there. Can you see that? It's definitely green, and what they call oranges always still have a bit of an green cast to them. They sort of look like they're never quite ripe, but I don't know what this one is. It's not a kaffir lime, that's for sure. Kaffir limes are really wrinkly. So we'll see what happens with this one. I guess I'll keep an eye on it. I've got since it's a sort of a managed housing development, they do have people come in and sweep up after the rain. This here tree, I think, is the same species as the one on my property. But when they trim these trees, they just totally butcher them. Here's a couple other examples. That's horrendous. And I'm not just talking about the stupid wires, but these trees. This is kind of interesting. This is a variety of eggplant somebody's planted here. Possibly the home next door here. The son, supposedly communal property. Yeah, they look like little cherry tomatoes, but I'm really sure they're not. There's a lot of interesting eggplant varieties here. Just take a moment here to savor this lovely flower here. There's a number of these homes and townhouses that are for rent or for sale here. And they can be had for very little amount. Oh, here's a satellite dish. Hold on, we're pretty close to the airport. That's a real selling point, isn't it? Anyway, here's a mango tree that is developing some fruit. From what I know, mangoes seem to bear year-round. Or maybe they have different varieties that produce a couple times a year. Nobody's living here at this point in time. A lot of these homes are owned by people in other parts of Thailand, and they'll rent them out if they can. We're on hard times here in Thailand. Not too many, not enough tourists coming through. Not enough money from them to make things worthwhile. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting harvest. I'm pretty sure somebody lives here though. And here's an interesting ginger relative with their flowers. So they're just starting to bud out there, right there. And here as well. Yeah, ginger can be fun plants for many reasons. So again, here in Thailand, there's a lot of biodiversity. Case in point, it's a lot of. There we go. There's a lot of palm trees here, and many different varieties. This one actually drops fruit on the ground. I'm sure the birds and other animals like, but I can't see whether that's edible or not. A lot of them are. Just the way of dealing with sewage here in this Muban is we have how we say septic systems, and this is a septic field over here. I mean, you never smell the filth underneath it. It's just very well fertilized lawn. And I'm going down a soy or road here that I used to live at. Okay, let's look at some of the plants in this area. These seem to be Hollywod cypresses or something like that. Something we see a lot in California residential. And now these are some kind of mahogany, not native here. I think they're African mahoganies. May have been a Filipino mahogany, I'm not really sure. Lovely trees. Here we go, that's a real plumeria. This is probably a hybrid between alba and rubra, or maybe some other variety that I don't know about. Just gorgeous flower. Trust me, it smells nice. These dried flowers are also used for to build incense. Let's see what else we have up this road here. So this is a crazy one. It's called a suicide tree. I don't know the binomial name on the top of my head, but I'll share it here someplace, right? Now these are all that same species, suicide tree. Let's get up and take a look at it. Yeah, so these are the flowers. By the way, this is a drainage ditch, or as we say, clong. And you can see the fruit's been dropping into the clong, and after the well, again, this is the end of the dry season. There shouldn't be that much growth in there. They usually climb in there, clean it out once in a while. Anyway, it's a drainage ditch. We call it the clong. Anyway, this flower, let's see, maybe my botanical friends can help me identify the family from which this plant comes based on the morphology. These fruits are deadly poisonous. There's legends about them being used to commit suicide, which is why it's called, at least I call it the suicide tree. The Thais have a different word for it, which I believe translates to suicide tree. Now, why would anyone have a housing complex with a bunch of poisonous plants lining the road? I do not know. There's a bunch of these little tiny citruses here. As you see, they're about that big. Yeah. What's kind of funny is the leaf plant morphology really doesn't scream out citrus to me. See how these leaves are structured here? It's almost like a rose. It's unique. And I heard it's called the cannonball tree. I'll bring some better information on it as soon as I can. But it may be a relative of the suicide tree, since the leaf forms are kind of similar. And there's some flowers there. See that? That is, I think that is a passion flower, passiflora, and not the fruits of the flowers for this tree. Not entirely sure. Okay, this is, so you see these little yellow buds. That is how the this tree grows. Like this one here. Yeah, I don't know. That sure looks like a passion flower. But and it's really super common to see epiphytes of different types. Many trees have more than a couple of epiphytes. This is kind of interesting. Look at this here. You know how trash containers in national parks have a bear-proof or raccoon-proof container for trash to keep the raccoons out. This handles things a little similarly. Basically, here's your place where you put bags of garbage, and the lid closes, and then in the morning they come in and open this up and bring out the garbage. As long as you keep that sealed up, the rats will starve to death. And before you comment, no, I haven't seen any rats here. Not in this Smooban. Occasionally I'll see some cockroaches on that street because they don't have those metal boxes. In my area, nope, we're pretty cool. Now we're in a little park area in the Mumban, split in half by another clong or drainage ditch. This looks like a banana plant, but I've got a feeling it's something a little different. It's related, but it's not. I'm not sure. There's a papaya bearing fruit back there too, and it's over there. Let's go check that out. Yeah, somebody's living here. I want to really disturb their privacy, but it's got quite a collection here. Thriving orchid over here. Some bromeliads here. And oh boy, oh, there's some variegatas there too. And hello, I got a feeling those aren't plastic. But they do sell plastic orchids here. You got any idea what this might be? I'm thinking rubber. I'm not entirely sure. I know we should really look for a flower to be sure about that, but they're just big, heavy leaves. Amazing. Avocado? I don't think so. Is that right? Let me know what you guys think about this. Yeah, so here's the alocasia or colocasia that we spied from afar. Really amazing plant. Huge leaves. Very interesting and impressive. Now, speaking of this is the Chong tree. And there's a epiphyte growing up it. That might be a strangler fig. That's true. It's going to be interesting to see that develop. And see those big old leaves going out the side. So now technically this is outside my bubon, but it's a plant worth looking at. See if we can get over there without getting any trouble. Yeah, that is a traveler palm. And it's not really a palm tree. It's in the bird of paradise family. Strelitzia or Strelitza. Not sure how that's pronounced. Anyway, this is one of my favorite soys in the neighborhood. Everyone seems to be very house proud and take care of their garden and so on. It's worth a stroll. What are these little flowers here? Probably not native to the tree. They're probably a vine growing up it. Very spectacular. And there's something else coming down here. Kind of, hello there. How you doing? Kind of a pale purplish flower. Sort of out of control little plant. And this is the responsible way to grow bamboo. Because depending on the species, they may just go haywire, go everywhere. Let's see, oh, somebody's got some bamboos growing here. I mean, somebody's got some bananas growing here. And we check out the variety. These look like young namois, the way they're been like that. So this would be considered a middle upper class neighborhood. But you could buy one of these houses for about what you do, how much you buy a car with in America. Yeah, you could probably pick that up for $30,000. Oh, keep in mind that you can't really buy houses here. You can buy a condominium, which these are not, and you can buy your wife a house, which is what I've done. Okay, here's one for you. Anybody in the comments below can explain to me what this tree is? Oh, I gave it away. What this plant is. Have you ever seen a leaf like that? I've seen leaves like this before here. Some of them are a little bit different from this, so there's probably a genus covers these. I do have a guess and a hint, but I want to see what everyone else thinks. So here I am, a regular Northern California guy, and I'm walking along, and what do I see here? That's what I think it is. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was a redwood. It's actually a variety of yew. Tell because the tips of the leaves are pointy. Okay, we're getting to the end here. Let's see what else we find. This is kind of fun. Looks like somebody picked up this tree and shared it or inspired a neighbor. What exactly is this one? Get closer to these guys here. Not annoying anybody. Yeah, look that up. I think that's, I'm guessing, a deodar cedar. I'm not real sure. What do you think? Well, that's about all I have for you right now. Shush. That's about all I have for you right now. I mean, there's plenty of fruits and vegetables and plants to look at here in Thailand. There's so much biodiversity, and add to that introduced species. Anything from the tropics that comes here is pretty much takes over. So I've just managed to scratch the surface here. And I apologize, I don't know the full name of everything I've looked at here, but just wanted to share you with what I could. And I think this video's going on long enough. I don't want to bore anybody. And I hope this has been fun and interesting and instructive and inspiring. And I hope to see you again very soon. Bye now.